What is the difference between a living will and a healthcare power of attorney? My name is Andrew Ayers. I'm a estate planning lawyer with offices in Minneapolis and New York, and today we're going to talk about the difference between a living will and a healthcare power of attorney. Now, the first thing to clear up is that a living will is different than a will. So a lot of people get a little confused because they both have the same word in them. A will is technically a last will and testament, and that is what happens to your stuff after you're gone. It'll have provisions for guardianship for your children. It'll have a trustee if you're setting up a trust for them. It has a lot of other provisions. A living will, on the other hand, it deals with medical and healthcare decisions while you're alive. And actually, as we're going to see, it's a really specific part of medical and healthcare decisions. So the living will really deals with deathbed issues. So it can have things like do not resuscitate instructions, end-of-life decisions, and it's a pretty short document. When you compare it to a healthcare power of attorney, a living will is usually only 2 to 3 pages. A healthcare power of attorney, on the other hand, can be 8 or 9 or 10 pages and have a lot more to do with medical decisions and other things that may come up as opposed to just end-of-life decisions. So that healthcare power of attorney, that's used to appoint somebody to make medical decisions for you if you become incapacitated. It's more comprehensive, as I said, than a living will, and it can provide for things like organ donations and autopsies and other things that can be really important when it comes to these days and the effects of the COVID pandemic and what has happened to you as you became sick. So the most common question I'll get from my clients is, should I do both of them? Should I do a will, a living will, a healthcare power of attorney, both? So my recommendation is, first, always do a healthcare power of attorney. This document is incredibly important, incredibly powerful to make sure somebody is there to speak for you if you become sick. But I will also say, look at the living will. It's a short form, only 2 or 3 pages, and realistically, your attorney shouldn't be charging you extra for a living will or a healthcare power of attorney, frankly. This should all be included in your estate plan. These are not a la carte documents you're going to buy. So what I usually recommend is look at the living will, and if you want to sign it, if it makes sense, then sign it. If you don't want to sign it, it's just not your cup of tea, then don't sign it. But make sure you get that healthcare power of attorney, because that's going to be a really important document for you in case you become sick. Now, as I said, this isn't something that your attorney should be charging you a la carte for, and this definitely isn't something you should just go to a website and hope you download the right form. So each state has different forms for healthcare directives and other healthcare documents, but I still recommend you go speak to an attorney. Make sure you're getting the right documents for you and your situation. You may go in there thinking, I just need a healthcare power of attorney, and you may come out with an entire pack of documents that really helps you control these end-of-life decisions and what would happen to you if you become sick. You may need a general durable power of attorney, which allows someone to make financial decisions. You probably want a HIPAA authorization so that your healthcare agent can have access to your medical records. And then you want your healthcare power of attorney and your living will. If you're ready to get started, you can go to my website, andrewmayers.com. There's a red button to schedule a strategy session. You'll be taken to my personal calendar where you can set up a 15 or 20-minute phone call to go over where you are in the process. Maybe you need old documents updated. Maybe you're starting fresh. But it's very important when you're considering a living will or a healthcare power of attorney to get in and talk to a professional to make sure you're getting the right documents for you and your situation.